So I'm going to teach you my ab activation sequence now. And the purpose of this is, number one, to get your abs activated properly before doing any kind of workout. But also, it's going to emphasize what's called posterior pelvic tilt. And that's basically when your hips are tilting up towards your belly button. So you're squeezing your glutes, tilting your hips up, and your abs are activated. The opposite of that is called anterior tilt, where you see this lower back curve I've got, and that way my abs are lengthened, which means they're not going to be activated. The difference between this and that might not look very much, but it makes a huge difference to whether or not your abs are going to be activating properly. So the first exercise I'm going to show you is called, I call it ab activation. Essentially it's a sit-up, but you're taking everything out of the equation. Basically your hip flexors and your quads are often very likely to activate when you're doing any kind of abs exercise. And also lots of people use motion rather than using abs. So we're going to take all those things out of the equation. So you're going to start in this position. Already abs are contracted, lower back is flat. You're then just going to exhale to here. And at this point you're going to hold and tense your abs as hard as you can for 1, 2, slowly come back down to that starting position, which is here. It's not down here. You're not resting with your hands here, because if your hands are down here, you're just going to hurl yourself up all the way. That's not what I want you to do. Okay, so let me show you again. Notice I'm not lifting myself all the way up. My lower back stays flat. You're trying to curve your spine as much as you can, because your abs control the curving of your spine. So the more curve you get, the more ab contraction you're going to get. So I'm just going to show you a few reps, how you should be doing them. Holding for 2 seconds. Back down. So I'm hardly moving at all, but I'm only using abs, and already it's starting to burn. Tense those abs. Okay, so if you're someone that struggles with ab activation, that's a really good one to incorporate into your daily routine. The more you start doing it, the more the nervous system will start to recruit the right muscles when you're doing the ab exercises. Okay, the next really good exercise is a hollow hold. In my opinion, it's the best core strengthening exercise you can do. It's the first thing that they'll teach you when you're doing gymnastics, to teach you core strength. I'll show you what the finished product looks like. Essentially, you're in this position. Okay? I'm going to talk you how to kind of get into that position gradually. So you lie down completely flat. The first thing you're going to do is bring your knees all the way in towards your chest. Hands on your temples. You're then going to use your abs, like you did in the previous ab activation exercise, to hold that position. So my abs are contracted already. You then extend your legs, lock your knees, point your toes. Basically, the lower you bring your legs, the harder it's going to be on your abs. If your abs aren't strong enough, your lower back is going to lift off the ground. This is what I mean by the difference between anterior pelvic tilt and posterior pelvic tilt. You want posterior, so you want your back to be pressed into the ground. Like so. Okay? If ever your back lifts off the ground, that means you're anteriorly tilting and you're feeling it in your back and not your abs. So that's really, really important. So as I said, the lower you bring your legs, the harder it is on your abs. Even if you're just holding this position, that's absolutely fine, but make sure you're lifting yourself up with your abs right here. Don't relax down here at any point. Okay, so that hollow hold is really good exercise to incorporate into your daily routine as well. The more you do it, the stronger your abs are going to get. And then you've got what's called a hollow plank. You notice that word hollow because it's exactly the same position as the hollow hold, but on your front in a plank position. So I'll show you first, and then I'll explain it. Okay, this is how gymnasts do planks, guys. Okay, so I'm going to talk about how this is different to a normal plank. Normal plank, you'll kind of be relaxing down here, but with a gymnastic hollow hold plank, you're pushing yourself away from the ground, you're tilting those hips towards the belly button, and then rocking your weight forward so you're right on top of your tiptoes. Okay? By doing that, you're activating all your abdominal muscles, you're squeezing your quads, squeezing your glutes, you're pushing yourself away from the ground. You need to be doing all those things constantly. Don't relax at any point. If that feels not challenging, it just means you're not activating everything properly. So let me kind of show you the stress on that posterior pelvic tilt again. Okay, so I'll show you anterior tilt, which is not good. You're just going to feel it in the back. So if I was to do the same hollow plank with anterior tilt, it would look like this, okay, which isn't good at all. I'm just feeling that out in my back. Just by tilting the hips up towards your belly button, I'm feeling it in my core. I'm squeezing my glutes, squeezing my quads. Everything is activated. And that position is exactly the same as that hollow position. Okay, so those are 3 exercises that you can incorporate to your daily routine. I see them being done incorrectly all the time. Just changing the focus on the hips, that posterior tilt, is going to make a huge difference. You can incorporate that hollow position into lots of different exercises. It's going to make a big difference to your core strength.